What's up, YouTube? JT is your born here, and welcome to another edition of After the Movie. I'm currently in my theater parking lot right now. I just got out of seeing How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, the third and final film in the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Now, I uploaded some other videos today on my thoughts on the first two films. I saw the first one a couple years ago, and I rewatched that today. I'd never seen the second one, so I watched that one today for the first time. And then I went to this movie pretty much blind, going into it not really knowing... Well, I mean, I knew about the other two films, and I'm aware there's a TV show that's set between movies 1 and 2. But from what my friend told me, you don't really have to watch that to understand the movies. You can just watch the movies on their own. That's more of a companion piece, like a lot of spin-offs and TV shows are. So I went to this movie. I'm like, okay, I liked movie 1. I liked movie 2 a bit more. Now let's go see what they do with this third and final film. And as a closure to a trilogy, it's definitely pretty good. You know, the first movie, you can consider The New Hope. The second one, The Empire Strikes Back. And the third one, more or less, Return of the Jedi in some ways. I mean, obviously, they're very different stories, but that's kind of like the core of this one. There's a lot more like cutesy stuff in this film than there was on, you know, movies 1 or 2, because Hiccup's in love. He's got a Strutter or whatever her name is. And then, you know, Toothless is in love with another dragon, Light Fury, as they like to call him. And there's a lot of the movie that kind of relies on that, you know, visual storytelling where Hiccup's trying to impress her. And, you know, even for the most cynical person, you can't help but find it adorable. And that's kind of me for this one. I'm like, oh, it's just so cute. And you just want to pitch their little cheekies. Oh, look at this dragon. It's like a dog. Oh, it's so adorable. Oh, just adorable. But anyway, so the setting of this one, it's not like the previous one was like 5 years later. And then this one, like when you go from movie 1 to 2, it's like a 5-year difference. And then you go to movie 2 to 3, I don't know what the time jump is. Maybe a year or so. I want to say maybe like a year or so time difference. I can't really tell. But so with this one, it's about basically what happens is Berk is now overrun with dragons. They're all living in total harmony at this point. But the issue is they're getting overcrowded, and Hiccup kind of realizes this, so he's just like, why don't we just move all of us to this so-called hidden world? However, while he's doing that, a new villain comes into town, Gremlin or Gerblin or whatever his name is. It begins with a G. Oh, I just saw this movie. I'm kind of embarrassed right now. I just I don't even know his name. That just goes to show you that it doesn't leave much of an impact. Because the last movie, it was Drago, and I'm like, Drago, and they're building him, hyping him up like this big badass villain. And, you know, Damon Hansu voiced him, and he was, you know, okay as a villain. And it's kind of the same deal with this one. The villain isn't really, like, amazing or anything like that. He's a little better than the previous one, but, you know, in terms of villains, he's kind of forgettable. But the real heart of the movie is the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless. What makes it work, though, is, like, we follow their journey from the beginning, and you can see, like, this one is about Hiccup necessarily they're trying to move on, and it has to deal with the trouble of letting go. So kind of a bit like Toy Story 3 when Andy has to give away his toys to, you know, the little girl. It's kind of like the same deal with this one. Hiccup's just like kind of realizing, like, you know what, maybe I should let Toothless go and, you know, live with this Light Fury, as I like to call him. So there's that. There's a bit of love thing going on between the dragons, and you get to see this hidden world. And, you know, I saw this in 3D. This is an early screening, by the way. The 3D is absolutely outstanding. I think the world and the visuals are just like the previous two films, are absolutely top notch. And it's a stunning movie to look at, you know, just the feeling of flying in that. I really enjoyed the 3D aspect of it. I mean, I don't really go to see 3D movies really anymore. That 3D craze really died down. I want to say in 2010 was pretty much the end of it. It started to boom up with Avatar. Then by the time, like, you know, we were done in 2010, moved into 2011, I think the 3D craze was pretty much over with by that point. How to Train Your Dragon was one that people really went in, like, wow, look at this 3D. Nowadays, 3D is just kind of just like, oh, yay, 3D. But, you know, this one's pretty good. Like, I mean, I just wanted to see it because, you know, it's there. But I don't have to necessarily see a 3D movie. It was just kind of the showing. But, yeah, the villain this time, just, you know, it's just, he has motivations. He wants to kill it. He's apparently been the one responsible for killing all the Night Furies. And as a villain, the voice is acting, the guy who plays him, I'm not sure who it was, but he was pretty decent, like, vocal performance-wise. He did the lines and stuff, but the villain just really wasn't doing anything for me. It's just like, he's just kind of like he's just there, like not like a very compelling character whatsoever. It's just like, oh, dragons did this to me, and I hate all dragons. I'm like, okay, we saw this kind of in the last movie with Drago, although Drago was missing an arm. This dude does it, like, you know, more for the thrill or so. But he just wasn't really doing it for me. And this one in general, I really like this one. I don't love it. I feel like it's a great closure to this trilogy. Like I said, I'm not somebody who's been invested in these movies for a really long time. Like, I saw the first one years ago, and then I rewatched it today, and I rewatched the second one. So I'm going into this movie just kind of like as like a straight continuation. Maybe if I let the movie settle a bit longer, I would have probably enjoyed this one more. Or if I followed the TV show or the lore so much, it probably would. And I think people who follow the lore and the shows and all that are really, really going to love this movie, and they're going to get really choked up by the end of it. Me, because I'm just seeing these all like, you know, back to back to back, time really hasn't set in per se. It's not like in Toy Story 3 where it was like, you know, an 11-year gap, and I'd been watching Toy Story for years, since as long as I can remember. And then going into that third film, we got the scene where, you know, Andy passes on his toys. This one, it's just like, I just went straight from, like, I had all that time growing up, but this one, you know, I was, you know, I wasn't that, I was a little bit older going in to see How to Train Your Dragon, just going straight from, you know, 2 to 3, like watching the trilogy back to back to back, going into this one. It's a bit different, and I think it's the same for a lot of people when they watch movies. Like, if I was going in and binge, like, it's like binge watching, you know what I mean? You're not going to feel as, I feel like you won't be as emotionally invested as you would if you're just watching the episode by episode from when it aired. You know, there's a passage of time to let you really understand, like, the characters fully. That's kind of me with this one. I liked it for sure, and I do think the ending to this one is pretty good. But I think in terms of the trilogy, I think I like 2 a bit more. It's a bit more emotional. I think the story was, you know, stronger in that one than this one. But yeah, I think fans in general are going to generally like this one. I can't see them not liking it. I can't see them not really enjoying the scenes with Toothless and, you know, the Light Fury. Which, by the way, I liked how they expanded on, like, the dragon's powers and stuff. Like, the first film, it was, you know, just simple dragons. Second film, they had, like, the ice dragons. And then the third film, I guess they have the cloaking abilities of the Predator now. I'm not sure how that works. I guess it's just the Light and Night Furies that can do it. But it just kind of, it kind of like shocked me at first. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, oh, she can do this. I'm like, oh, he can do this too? Well, that's, or the camouflage abilities. Like in Jurassic World had this ability where like, they're like, it can camouflage, like kind of like a chameleon. So the dragons can do that now. Well, in terms of the climax, I'm not going to get too many spoilers away, but I will say this, though, that with the climax, it's different from the previous ones. They got these new, like, scorpion-like dragons that, like, have a venomous sting, which is pretty cool. But it's not just giant big dragon, they have to stop again. So I appreciated that one. They have, like, it's a little bit more, like, creative with the climax. But overall, I think this is a satisfying conclusion to this trilogy. And if we don't make any more, it's, like, fine by me. Like, it's not something I'm going to go out of my way to buy. Per se, but, you know, as somebody just saw them all pretty much for the first time today, I enjoyed it, I had a good time, and I think fans are going to be very pleased. You know, this is, like, weird with me, because, like, the only new movies I've seen in theaters so far have been animated movies. I still have yet to see Glass. I'm going to have to try and go see that at some point, but it just kind of something I just noticed with myself. But yeah, I'm sure people are watching this review for the first time, don't necessarily care, but How to Train Your Dragon 3, I think fans are going to really dig it. I liked it for sure. Like, I didn't love it, but I liked it. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I can't see it not pleasing anyone. For me, I like 2 a bit more. I definitely like this more than, I don't know if I like this one more than 1. I think they're kind of like on the same level. Well, actually, you know what? I think I like this one more than 1 now that I think about it. Like I said, just instant thoughts. But I think 2 is the best of the trilogy. Definitely the most emotional. But this one was going to get people emotional, I think, regardless by this ending. It's not like a tearjerker movie, but I think it's just one of those things where if you grew up with it kind of in vain, like I would with the Toy Story films, you're going to get, like, it's kind of like a farewell, per se. And it's a good farewell. So, there's that. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this film. Thank you all so much for watching this. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. More videos to come, I guess. Happy February. Hope it's a great month for all of you, and I hope it's kicks ass. So that's that. All right, that's all I gotta say. Take care now. Bye bye then. I'll see you next time. See ya.